So our next wine region was La Rioja, and we drove up to Haro, which is the wine capital of the Rioja region. We left Ribera del Duero and we drove north to Haro. So we chose to stay in Haro because you can walk to the wineries and the town is small and generally a local feel. There are other towns such as the actual capital. Haro is the wine capital of La Rioja, but the actual capital of Rioja, which is Logroño or Calahorra or Arendo on the eastern side of La Rioja, are other options to stay. Haro is approximately 2 hours south of Bilbao, so you can fly into Bilbao and drive south to La Rioja. And Ribera del Duero, of course, that was about 2 hours north of Madrid. So if you're going to Ribera del Duero, you'll need to fly into Madrid and drive north. We selected a small boutique 3-room hotel. It was really like an Airbnb or VRBO. However, we loved it. We gave the hotel a 5-star rating on Airbnb. So it was called the Puracepa Urban Suites. It was a little over 200 a night, run by a gentleman by the name of Pablo. Pablo came out, showed us where to park, walked us upstairs. Has a 2-person elevator that opens directly into your suite and then it's locked. Has a jacuzzi tub on the second floor. Also a sauna in the loft. It's very well decorated with a modern style and overlooks the street. Occasionally there were some people walking there, but generally it was very, very quiet. We were able to watch television with English-speaking channels as well as Spanish-speaking channels and just really enjoyed it, along with its central location. And for breakfast, we would just let Pablo know we were ready to eat at 7:30 a.m. and he would knock on the door with scrambled eggs, toast, and orange juice and coffee. Highly, highly recommend staying there. After we settled into the hotel, then it was later in the afternoon, early evening. So we decided we'd at least go out and get a lay of the land and see where we were going to walk tomorrow. So we crossed over to the wine area where all the wineries are. And you can see this was a monument that was erected to the start of the wine region there in Haro. And then we worked our way back. We really didn't stop at any winery. Actually, no, we did stop at one winery, but they were closing. I think it was about 6 p.m. And so then we went back to the Plaza de la Paz, sat down at Cafe Suizo, ordered some appetizers and a glass of wine, spent about 21 euros for that hoagie and the little seafood dish. And then Pablo texted us, said, where would you guys like to eat for dinner? And we said, we'd like something that is very good quality. And he said, do you want Michelin? And I said, no, we would like something that's Michelin food, but not the Michelin prices. So he recommended Los Caños, which is a sister restaurant to a Michelin star restaurant. And from the hotel, it was just down through a little walkway and then directly up the road. So you can see it took us less than 5 minutes to walk. It's mostly locals that are going to eat dinner there, and also quite a few winemakers, as it turned out. And we stood at the opening outside around 8:30 p.m. Nobody was there. And we waited. We thought maybe this wasn't the right place. You can see Los Caños on the right, and the Michelin star Nublo is on the left. And they share a kitchen. So by 8:45, it was completely packed. That's us as we just got in there. And then if you see some pictures a little bit later, the whole place is just packed with people downstairs and upstairs. Pablo was able to make a phone call. So I guess it was 6 o'clock when when he asked us what time we wanted to eat. And we said, okay, 8:30. He made a phone call. That table right there is a table just outside of the kitchen. And we could look right inside the kitchen and watch all the meals being prepped. We ordered a bottle of Tobia, and then we ordered a bottle of the Signorio de Cuzcurrito, which was because the winemaker or the owner of Castillo, there he is right there, he came over and thanked us for drinking his wine.
We're going to walk.
No, thank you for coffee.
No, a coffee. Yeah. I thought it was coffee.
No. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. It was wonderful. Thank you.
The next day was wine tasting in Haro. We picked this location in Haro because from watching other YouTube videos, you could just walk across the bridge without having to drive. And there were probably 15 or 20 different wine tasting rooms or wineries on the other side. So you could see from Puracepa Urban Suites, you walk down the road, you cross the bridge, and then you walk up to where the wineries are. And in a second, you can see we've got Cune, Bodegas Muga, there's Cune, there's Bodegas Muga, there's La Rioja Alta, there's Lopez de Heredia, and then I searched for Thiom because on the way back we went to the Thiom winery and had a very nice tasting after we met the daughter-in-law of the owners of Muga. So we started probably about noon and then walked across the bridge. And the picture of Lynn there, that's going the other way, going back to Haro. And that's the bridge that you cross over to go to the winery section. That's the Rio Alta. That's the vine route, the wine route, and this is a high level view of the winery. There's Muga in the front there. There's the monument to the wine region, and all those other buildings pretty much are wineries that you can just walk into. So you just kind of have to work your way around. We started off just exploring and walking since it was around noon. There were a couple of buses that had just pulled up with tourists, and we were trying to follow where they were going because we assumed they had set up wine tours. We didn't actually get up to Rota that you just saw on the far end. So our first stop, there was a bus that had just parked across from Bodegas Bilbaínas, so we went there, and everybody on the wine tour on the bus went somewhere else. So we went in, and in this winery you could buy individual glasses. We bought wines, a low-cost Tempranillo, a medium, and then a very high-end Tempranillo to try to compare, and also a white. One thing to note is that this is the Rio Alta area, which is on the western side of La Rioja. And as you go east, the zones are Rioja Alavesa and Rioja Oriental with different terroirs. So you just want to kind of pick your region, or maybe you try all of them. Next, we went over to Muga. We walked through their store and their wine tasting room. And in their store, they had a 2019 Tempranillo Reserve that was $240. Clearly their best vintage. You couldn't get a wine tasting there. It was all prearranged. So instead, we walked outside and went to their open air tables. I ordered the 2019. As you can see, a 2020 was delivered and poured in my glass. And I said, could I have the 2019? And the waitress said, well, let me go ask the owner. Well, there's the owner right there. That's Thelonious, I think is his name. And that's his sister on the right there. And they invited us to come over and taste their wines. And we did. We came over and sat down. They actually brought us a bottle of champagne. So we sat with Thelonious. On the left, you see that he's the shorter gentleman and then his sister. And then we met with the daughter-in-law who owns Thiom Winery. And when we were finished there, the daughter-in-law invited us over to Thiom where we had a wine tasting, and we bought some of their wines, and they ran from, I don't know, anywhere like 12 euros to maybe 18 euros. Very reasonable. So if you want to try wines that have all the Muga expertise, go to Thiom. These are the barrels that are on display outside of Muga. They were used during the phylloxera devastation in France. And this is the train example when they carried grapes and grape juice from La Rioja up to France to make French wine while France couldn't make any wines. On the way out of Haro, we wanted to go see Juan, the winery owner at Castillo Cuzcurrito, since he was very kind to come over and thank us for having one of his bottles during our dinner. They have 3 red wines and 1 white, and it's probably about a 20-minute drive outside of Rioja. But it was on the way that we were going, which was heading towards Gratallops in the Priorat region. We went to see the castle. They had the 3 bottles of wine. One is the Signorio de Cuzcurrito, which is made from the bulk of their grapes. Then there's El Cerrado, which is made from grapes grown within the castle walls. And the third is El Tilo, which is their top of the line of only the best grapes. That's the castle right there just below. They welcomed us in. We showed one of the workers a picture of me standing with Juan, and they took us upstairs to see Juan. There's nobody there. It was just them making wine and doing their wine business. And the brother or the close business associate, I can't remember now, he said, "How about if you would you be interested in tasting a bottle of our white?" We said, "Sure, absolutely." So we tasted a bottle of their Blanca, made from Viura grapes, and it's a softer Albarino. It's very good. So we went to this as we were driving out. Then there was a walkway that climbed up to the top of the hill, and we took the time to go park our car. And I took the drone up in the air. It's great to get out and walk. This overlooks the town of Castillo, of the winery Castillo de Cuzcurrito. It was good to burn a few calories as we walked to the top and then back down. It was so beautiful to enjoy the outdoors and the beautiful country. You can't find Juan's wines in the U.S. yet. Hopefully they'll be there, but they're all local to Spain. We bought 3 of his bottles because we still needed to carry those back on the plane, and took those with us. And then we headed off to Gratallops. Had a wonderful time in Haro. Definitely would go back. Next up, after La Rioja, is the Priorat wine region in Gratallops, Spain, about a 4 to 5 hour drive.